Blanchard, a 22-year-old girl who for most of her life was kidnapped and forced to be in a wheelchair by her mother, is now going to spend 10 years in prison for murdering her mother who kidnapped her, basically, and would not let her go. What happened was she pled guilty to murder. She pled guilty to second-degree murder. I don't think she should have pled guilty. I think she would have been found not guilty by reason of self-defense, as what her mother was doing to her was horrific, just horrific. She would have been found not guilty. But I mean, she pleaded guilty. But I don't think she was in a right state of mind. Even though there was nothing physically wrong with her, mentally it's something else. Because of her mother, her mother basically closed off her world to her. Her mental awareness is greatly reduced. Basically, even though she's now independent of her mother, because of being controlled by her mother for so long, her brain is not as developed as it should be. Maybe she's physically 22, mentally she might be 13 or 14. She should know that pleading guilty means you go to prison. And also she should be aware, Gypsy should be aware, that if she did not plead guilty, she would have been exonerated due to all the evidence against her mother. And her boyfriend, who was probably the one who murdered her mother, would be held as a hero. He's on trial right now facing first-degree murder charges for murdering her mother. I don't think he should be found guilty, as what he did, he basically rescued the girl from a horrible kidnapper who just happens to be her biological mother. That is a horrible person who's probably now burning in hell. So, for those who you might not know of Gypsy Blanchard, she is a girl who lived in the South, in the state of, I presume, Arkansas, if I'm not mistaken. What happened was her mother faked all sorts of illnesses on her daughter, ranging from multiple sclerosis all the way to leukemia, and not to mention muscular dystrophy. So she forced her daughter to be in a wheelchair, would frequently beat her daughter, to make her look injured and to punish her for disobedience, shave her head, not let her go out in public at all, essentially kidnapping, as I say, her own daughter. And what does the daughter get? Instead of being treated as a victim, she's treated as a murderer for escaping her horrible, cruel mother. I really feel for Gypsy. My heart goes out to her. It's just so tragic what's going on in this country. I mean, even though Gypsy Blanchard is now going to serve time in prison, when she gets out, she would be free, but she's not going to be able to vote. She's not going to be able to hold down a steady job. All because of the crime against her. Second-degree murder. You know what that means? It means basically you probably will never vote. You will never have any true freedom. You're always going to be the legacy of what your mother did to you, basically. Because of the second-degree murder charge. But in spite of all of that, you can still have a family. You'll get out when you're 32. You could write a book, talk about your life, and inspire a generation. With all these obstacles in front of you, Gypsy, you will still be able to accomplish so much. Because in 10 years, who knows, America might be better. We probably won't have Trump anymore, and the laws will probably change. Hopefully they'll become more Norwegian, where people who are no longer, once you're out of jail, you're once again free, you once again have all your rights back. And in Vermont, guess what? You can vote even though you're in prison. You basically don't lose any rights. That's how it should be. That's how it really should be. America should totally be about freedom. And since most criminals are nonviolent offenders, they should not have their rights taken away. And in cases of killing in terms of due to abuse, it should be automatically considered self-defense, especially if it's like what happened to Gypsy Blanchard. Gypsy is not a criminal. She's an abuse survivor. She is not a criminal. Gypsy is no criminal. And I want everybody to know who watched the documentary into Gypsy Blanchard or who did not watch, look her up. Gypsy Blanchard is an abuse survivor and deserves all of our support. I pray for Gypsy, her father, her stepmother, and her boyfriend. I hope he does not get harsh penalty because what he did, he's a hero. He rescued her from that hellhole, and I'm glad that he did that. Thank you for watching. Bye.